about the environment and all of the disease and the disorder that we have throughout the world because people still remain ignorant. Now, I said ignorant, not stupid. Ignorant, right? So people like this are creating such needed change within our environment with toxicity and all of the, on so many levels, right? There's just so much that they're doing for their small little town in Indiana that we had to come up here. I was like, Brian, we have to go. So I met him last year at this, my friend Aubrey, and it was so cool to be able to see what they were doing because it was about slow fashion, right? And if anybody has seen the movie that is called The True Cost, then you know what I'm talking about because it is very sad and it is very upsetting to know what goes on in the United States when it comes to not only petrochemicals from the dyes that poison our waterways, but also what happens to other human beings when it comes to the fashion industry. It is sick, it is wrong, it is not okay, and we need more people like this who are making a difference. But they also opened up an amazing coffee shop that is safe for everybody on so many levels. But I've said enough, so now I want them to tell you who they are and their story.
Hello, we are Wizelle and Wizette. We're married, and Stalph is our child, essentially. It's all the things that we love and are passionate about. We started in 2015. And actually when we started, we were solely art and music, and that was our outlets that we loved. And then in the past 8 years, we have grown to now having our own brick and mortar filled with all of the things that we create. Our mission as artists and as makers and creators is to try and not harm the environment, and we try really hard. And there's always growth and there's always things to learn still. And we're not perfect by any means, but the textiles was kind of like our first delve into being kinder to the planet, and with like the dyes and our choices with like our, cotton, linen, and hemp, and yeah, that's kind of how we first started and got more, more of like a conscious footprint.
Okay, so where are you guys from, and how did you end up here in Pine Village?
Okay. Good question. Go first.
So I grew up about 15 minutes from here in Attica, and then for middle school and high school, I was in West Lafayette. So that's also 15 minutes the other way. And my cousins live here in town, and we had met our friend Aubrey, who introduced us to this space, and it just kind of clicked at the moment. We needed a space to put all of our studio and also have a place to live, and that this was both of those things in one. And so it just kind of was perfect.
Yeah. I'm originally from Indianapolis, and he actually went to college in Indianapolis at the Art Institute. So we had a mutual friend in school who introduced us on Twitter. And then, we moved to Attica to help take care of his grandma. So that's what introduced me to the area. And we definitely stayed in our little hidey hole for, 7, 8 years, because we hadn't found our community. And our way to kind of resolve that was we traveled a lot, and we would pack up all of our creations, all of our art and our textiles and everything in our van, and we would tour East Coast to West Coast. And then we kind of came to the conclusion, instead of running from the area, if there's not any space that can serve us, then we have to create that, because I know it's missing for other people. So that's kind of how we landed in this space. It was room for us to grow our studio and grow our production, but also grow in the sense of having a public space where people can exist and interact with everything. I think the biggest hurdle we had was after every market and every show, everything got packed into boxes, and then it just sat until the next one. And now we have the opportunity to have everything on display all the time. And then when we make something new, it can just be on display. It doesn't have to sit and wait for the next show or the next market. And I think that was the biggest growth for us. And also a big part of who we are, and especially him, is the music. As a musician, it was okay, we've toured so many other stages and shops and venues, so now we want to have a space where other people can come and perform or share their poetry and their music and just have a space where they feel safe to share their own creation.
So a place that's safe for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. Did you hear me? Everyone to come. Yeah. So I love that. It's absolutely beautiful. And it makes sense that you're an art major. You know, if you look around, everything is beautifully artistic here. And very bright. I love the colors. I love how bright and the vibe of everything in here. One of the things that really struck me as an herbalist was how you dye your textiles.
Yeah.
I just thought that was beautiful. If you can explain to everybody how you do that. I know it's kind of up and coming and it's so cool.
Yeah. Actually, the textile dyeing and the textiles themselves were like our introduction into why it's important to care for the earth. I guess I don't know how to word this kindly, but clothing is like the one thing people feel like they can skimp on in life. Like it's not as important, but it's your protection and it's your outer layer, and everything you wear is being absorbed into your body. But not only that, it's like the way it's produced, the dyes, and the way that like materials are made. They're all synthetic, and so it's just like anything else. If you're gonna put that on your body and it's synthetic, then it's gonna harm you, but also it's gonna harm the planet while it's being made. So that was our introduction into why it's important to care. So first of all, our textiles, they're all plant-based, so linen, cotton, and hemp, and they're also not animal-based, it's all plants. So we don't use any wool, we don't use any silk, because I don't want to exploit animals. So that's important to us. And then the dyes themselves, they all come from plants or tree barks, they come from flowers, they come from nuts, they come from anything we can find outside. So yeah, they're all natural, and we forage for a lot of them, we grow some of them, and we have other farmers grow some for us, and yeah.
A couple of our colors even come from straight metals, like the iron.
Yeah, you can get colors from iron and copper.
That's so cool.
Yeah, which, I mean, your body needs those things as well. So when you wear them, it's absorbed into your body.
Oh yeah. This is in Pine Village, Indiana.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy cool.
And then I guess a spin-off from that is when we have excess dye from dyeing textiles, I can then process that down into paint or like watercolors. We're also still like finicking with recipes to make fabric paint, not just for like paper where it's lasting and it can be washable. We're still working on that one.
Oh, it's so cool. And with your coffee shop, I had Big Coffee today, which I thought was so cool. So, and I hadn't seen that before. So, with the coffee shop side of things, you know, we still don't even have coffee shops at this level in Indianapolis. You know, they don't use fake syrups. They don't. No, they don't have all the artificial sweeteners and petrochemicals in them. So I had a real lavender and vanilla fig latte today that was a fig coffee. So I would love for you to tell everybody about the quality and why it means so much, because even their cups are the way that they should be. So about your mission behind all of that.
Yeah. I mean, I said it once already, but like it's important to try our best to not leave a footprint and then also be kind. So when we were like researching how to even do the coffee shop side of things, everything's plastic.
Yes.
Like the syrup bottles are plastic, and like the cup lids are plastic, and like even when we were looking for cups themselves, it says it's compostable, but it actually is greenwashed, and they're not home compostable. So there were so many things, and we kept having this dilemma of like, I don't want to do it if it's going to be harmful. And we kept going back and forth, and it's like, okay, let's back up. I know there's options. So yeah, our syrups are from whole cacao, and they're organic, and our beans, they come from a local roaster, it's Mad Goat. And then actually Aubrey of Heart and Soul Farm found these cups from Repurpose is the brand, and they are fully home compostable, biodegradable. You can throw them like literally in your home compost, and that's important because we don't have a composting facility near us. The closest one would be Indianapolis. So to think about like the resources it would take to even take cups, that's insane.
Yeah.
Like we can't do that. You say something. So yeah, that was like the whole thing. We're like, we don't want to do this side of the shop if we can't do it responsibly.
You can't do it right.
Yeah, it's
Right.
important. So it took a lot of time and research, and even like the trash bags we use are compostable trash bags, and bottles are glass, so they can be either reused or recycled. And yeah, the Fig Brew comes from a company in Cincinnati, and it's an alternative for people who don't want caffeine, and also if like coffee beans don't sit right with you, it's just roasted figs.
I had never seen that.
Our-
And we were talking about syrups.
Beyond the syrups, our entire bakery case is also gluten-free, dairy-free, and vegan. And that is coming from Rose Market in downtown Lafayette, Indiana.
We were actually surprised at how many people have come into the shop and they're like, oh my gosh, I have celiac after. I'm, I don't know if I can cuss, but like, I'm fucking gluten sensitive. And I'm like, there's so many people I did not realize we were filling a gap with that. Also, the egg sensitivity is huge. People have said that as well. I had no idea that it was as big of a thing. Rose Market, they don't use any like synthetic colorings or like artificial sweeteners. It's all very clean.
Yeah, their Pop-Tarts are pretty.
Yeah.
And you can tell they're made from natural dyes, not synthetic. Well, we're in Indiana, and we're in rural Indiana, and I've, from the time I graduated the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, I've always worked with local farmers. And the reason why people are so sensitive to normal everyday foods like eggs and dairy, because they're not real anymore. It's not real. It always comes down to what feeds the food that's feeding you, right? And so if these animals are being raised on genetically engineered everything, we are going to be sensitive to it. We are going to have health problems. But we demonize food groups now. Oh, we can't have gluten, it's evil. No, it's what we've done to the wheat that's bad. They spray wheat with glyphosate right before they harvest it to dry it. Isn't that crazy? That way it can go into production faster. Bring on the disease, and don't even get me started on animals, right? Let's just not even get started there because that'll be another whole conversation. So it's amazing now that we do have bakeries like this. Because I loved it. I'm like, I can come in and have anything in here because I'm extremely what I call grocery store dead milk sensitive. But if I have raw dairy, I'm okay. So we keep raw butter in our house. But I didn't have to think about it because it was already there. Yeah. And so because we are in more of a rural area where we're surrounded by GMO farmland all over the place, then people are going to be more sensitive to those things. So the way that you're doing it all is just so magical.
Thanks. I mean, it's not like fully, advertised, but like this is actually a vegan coffee shop. Like the only milk we serve is oat milk.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of people who have come in and they're like, well, I've never really had it before. I don't know. But then they try it and it's like, oh yeah, that was good. I'm like, cool. One more person.
Yeah. Oh, it's fabulous.
Yeah, I think just because of the quality of everything, it doesn't matter that it's, I mean, it matters to us that it's vegan, but like when people are purchasing it, or like a drink or a baked good, it tastes good and it feels good, so it's okay that it's not milk or animals.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're not making people sick. You're
Yeah.
contributing and helping them to create health on every level. Tell me about your tea garden plans for this summer.
So actually, it's a split but one project with Heart and Soul Farm, Aubrey. She'll be growing a different variety of teas, and then we can make blends together to serve in the shop, and that she can sell for Heart and Soul Farm, or just offer it however she chooses. And then we will be growing the dye garden half of things, and it's dyes that can also be used as tea, and then be used to dye fabric with.
Oh, see, that's just beautiful, because most of your tea shops, the herbs are ordered and mass produced. And with the business of botanicals anymore, where there is very real slave labor in the farming of these plants, like you don't get any more pure than that. And could you come over here? Yeah, we keep talking about our friend Aubrey from Heart and Soul Farm, and she's here. So she did not plan. She did not plan on this.
I did not. Yeah, how awful was my? I just took my hat off.
Talking about her, but she's really doing some cool things up here with them. But yeah, I just love everything that you're growing. But when you're doing when you said tea garden.
Oh yeah. Well, it started actually. Well, I've always been into doing the teas, as you know. I brought you some of my tea that was all homegrown from my stuff. And I have a yoga studio at my farm, and we have about 3 acres and some gardens and some animals. And I think it was when I first got my chickens that I started to realize kind of the quality of like everything. Like what I feed the chickens, I get better quality eggs. So, you know, what I put in my soil, I get better quality vegetables and things. And once you start eating higher vibing things like that, it just continues to expand and grow. So the tea for me was a natural thing. With my yoga offerings, I would always offer tea, and at first I'd have tea bags and stuff, and then I was like, why am I not growing this stuff on my own? Like, why am I not giving them the full kind of experience of this tea? So I started growing it, dyeing it right in my house, and drying it in my house in my yoga studio. And like, I was always amazed when I would give people something, like, this is so good. Like, you start to like forget how good real food is till you have it, and you have it when it's that fresh versus, like you were saying, some of these herb companies and stuff where it's stored for years, so it's lost all nutritional value, all health benefits are gone. So when we were talking about their cups and things, and we finally found those like cups that were home compostable, like we had like a party that day. Like we were so been searching because, and we even both of us had been greenwashed with those compostable cups, and then you get them and it's like, oh, only in a facility, and the closest facility for us is Indianapolis, so it's an hour and a half away, so that's not very health friendly. So we were like, well, we can compost these at my farm and then like use that dirt for the tea garden. I was like, how full circle and cool is that, right?
And then we can use our like coffee bean waste from making the espresso shots, use that for compost. Yeah, the whole thing just kind of.
We both of us really like get very excited about like full circle things where you can like the inputs and the outputs all kind of equal each other. So yeah, that's a project we're super excited to expand.
And really, I guess not ultimate, but like one of the goals is like the dyes that we can use for fabric can be used for tea, and then the tea herbs can also be used to dye fabric. So there's like a mix.
Last year we researched a bunch of. We can't find our list anymore. But we researched a bunch and found all the ones that were like also like had a ton of like nutritional value, like herbs, but then also were like able to be used specifically for dye because there are for textiles, very specific ones.
Yeah, that is a big part too for textiles. Is there's kind of like there's a lot of misinformation about what you can and can't use to dye textiles. And I guess if you're doing it at home, you can just be whimsy about it, and it doesn't matter as much. But for a business side of things, you want your colors to last as long as they possibly can. So to use fugitive colors like beets or
Turmeric.
turmeric or cabbage. Like it doesn't last.
Series poke.
It doesn't last.
Darn it, it's
Yeah.
so pretty.
I know, it's so upset. Like the things that
Yeah.
you think that like you like when you're gardening stuff dye your hands generally are not the
Yeah.
things. Like
It's more stains.
it's very
And I think,
interesting.
like when we're first introducing people to natural dyes, the only thing they have to compare it to are synthetics. And
Yeah.
you have synthetic dyes, they last like years.
What are they made from?
synthetic dye? It's just
Petrochemicals.
chemicals.
Yeah, it's a lot of petroleum based
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with the beards. They're just synthetic colors. Yeah.
Petroleum.
So yeah, people are a little nervous when they get an actually dyed textile. They're like,
They're
No.
full hazmat gear.
Yeah.
Or they should be.
And not, fire retardants. Like, Olson and I wanted Christmas jammies this year, so we were getting our Christmas jammies, and I'm getting them out. And I'm like, Olson, don't put those on.
Yeah.
Like, it says right on the tag.
Did it have the Prop
Have the-
65?
It had a Prop 65.
Oh my god. Have
Yeah.
you noticed? Sorry, I'm getting way off. You and I are dangerous together.
Yes.
Have you noticed? we bought, get this, we went to like the local grocery store and got tater tots the other day. And Addie, my eldest, she loves reading labels on things. I don't know what it is. I can't imagine where she got it from. And she's like, Mom, these tater tots can possibly cause cancer. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like,
That's
tater
huge.
tots, it had something in it. And I was like, get these death tater tots out of my house. Like, but you don't even, like, there's just random things now that you don't.
it was a preservative.
It was a preservative in there.
Yeah.
That,
I freak out about those things.
me too.
Uh-huh. Did you say, what is it?
Probably that one.
Oh, yeah, it probably was TBHQ, which is in, I know Olson had messaged me one night that he was going to go to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. Oh,
And he's never had fast food, right?
Oh
I was like, well, I'm never that mom that's like, don't do it, because then it makes you want to do it.
no! Yeah,
I'm like, well, trying to like go through, well,
That's
this
the best
is this.
choice for your body, right?
I was breaking down, I'm like, well, this has this in it, and this has this, and this isn't. But, I mean, if you're going to do it, then you'll probably be safe with getting this. But he's like, I don't really get anything anyway. I know, I'm like, I probably ruined it for him.
We discussed the food hangover at our house. Like,
Oh, yeah.
sometimes I let them have the experience.
Because then
and
you
like,
have to.
how are you
experience it.
feeling today? And they're like, I'm
Mhm.
never doing that again. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, you guys aren't used to stuff.
No, your detoxification pathways are angry.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll
So-
let you guys get back to yours.
Oh, I kind of love having you here. I want to hear about your music.
Oh, I mean, what about it?
I mean, it's almost like you guys do so many cool things, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're environmentalists. You understand what food as medicine is. You understand about chemical toxicity that we live in every day. So there's all of those things, right?
I guess the music kind of takes all of those things along with all of the traveling experiences, just the things we see, and I put those lyrically into the music. And as far as the actual music itself goes, it's like, I mean, I listen to anything and everything all the way back to at least the 50s. And so it's just all of that put into one genre. I don't know.
Mhm.
I've been told that it's legit. It's its own genre because there's not really one thing that you can put or like one category you can put it
Yeah.
into.
So where can people find it?
You can find it on Stalph.co, also on YouTube. Just type in Wajette, or on any of the streaming platforms as well.
Okay. Music is healing, right? And it's expressive, and like you just said, you were able to take experiences and turn it into music, and that's a high vibe for people.
One main thing with the new album that I'm working on, our last tour, I recorded clips all over the United States, just sound clips, random
Yeah.
things, standing on street corners, whatever, picked up things. And so every single track is built around a sound that I picked up around the States. And so that's like one, I guess, thing that really encompasses my music that a lot of people, I don't know if they do or don't do, but it's just like adding something that hasn't been heard before that you can't just reproduce in the studio.
Absolutely.
Also, when he's performing, it's very much like a performance art. He's built like a light box where it's like interactive. You can step on it and the box lights up, and he steps off and it turns off. And his stage presence is very like dramatic, and it's a performance art for sure.
Mhm.
And also, like, all of the instrumentals, he's varied, so it's not just like electronic, it's him like physically playing the guitar and then like adding electronic beats, and he's got harmonica and bells and kalimba
Jaw harp.
and jaw harp, like so many different instruments all mixed together. And then his lyrics, like, I know you already said it, but they're very thought-provoking, and you actually have to listen, because it's not just the experiences on tour, it's like the specific things that he's touching while we're traveling, like the homelessness and the food deserts and just the overpopulation of that aspect, and just a lot of different topics in his music. So yeah.
So you use your art for a message,
Yeah.
which is beautiful. That's why I'm like, where can people find me to listen to it? But I love everything you guys are doing. We need more people to do that. So I'm hoping that people see what you're doing, and then you're an inspiration to other people and you. I'm talking to Aubrey. She moved out in the middle of nowhere and opened up a yoga studio and a farm, and she made me a beautiful tea, and I'll never forget it had colonial and raspberries from her own raspberries, and it was just really beautiful. Just other herbalists should and usually do love to support other herbalists, and I just geek out over it. But I just love what you guys are doing. It's just so important. It's just so important for other people, because I feel like coffee shops are a lot like breweries, right? Where they're so fun. People love to hang out. People love Brian loves craft beer. I don't like it at all. So Olson and I are big coffee shop people. But you can't go somewhere and have this. We have nothing like this in Indianapolis. We don't. And so it's amazing we drove almost 2 hours to come to a coffee shop like this in a very small town.
I grew up performing in Lafayette in a space not quite like this, but it had a stage. It was a space that really inspired. And I then moved to Indianapolis, and that was what I expected in my head for a coffee shop. The space, the environment, everything. And I walk in, it's just like business down there. Rather, it's just like in and out. There's no hangout, casual setting at all. And so to be able to now bring that to this rural area is just, it's neat and very fulfilling to do.
So a big thing for us is we're child free. We don't have children, we won't have children, but we also want to create a space where children can feel nurtured. And there's
Of all ages.
yeah, of all ages. And I know just because I've been here for so long, I know there's not a lot of artists like ourselves in this area. So to introduce these, essentially the next generation to really true soulful art is important for us, and to offer, there's a station where you can come and paint, and you can go over there and color, and he drew all the coloring pages, and to have, I made a matching game, it's a memory matching game, and each piece was hand drawn by me, and I have the originals where people can come in, anyone, any age can come and play the game, and I guess to foster creativity is really important, especially for the next generation. I think they need it.
Yeah.
Conscious creativity.
Yeah. To show that you can be conscious when you're creating. It's actually a responsibility, as creators, if you're producing and introducing new things into the world, it needs to be kind and not leaving a footprint or leaving a trace.
Well, and most people would never know that, So what you guys are doing is you're educating people. Because, you went to art school. I'm sure it was probably very conventional.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you're introducing people to different and better ways.
I studied fashion design, and the textile industry doesn't even talk about how harmful it is. It's not going to, because they're perpetuating themselves, but the documentaries we watched about what the textile was doing to even the rivers and the landfills blew our mind. We were all we had no idea how bad it was. I feel responsible to tell other people now.
Absolutely. Are there any documentaries that you would suggest people watch to educate?
True Cost is
True
a
Cost.
really good one. I think it shows why the price points are where they're at for kinder clothes. I think that's the biggest hurdle for people is they see the price point and they're like, I can't afford that. But when you think about it, you'll buy multiple pieces of clothing for that cost of one piece, and they're not going to last. And also, the wages that people are being paid to make those clothes are not great.
$2 a day.
Yeah. So I think the True Cost one, I would start there.
That one had me on fire. Like I wanted to jump through the screen.
Yeah.
It
Same.
was awful. Yeah, I think everybody should watch it. Always. Everybody should see that. And then we do need more options. We don't have many options at all. Not
I
here.
don't think there are any. I don't even mean this in like an ego way, but like I don't think there are any designers in Indiana that are at the capacity that we are.
They're
with the
not.
things that they're creating.
Not that I've ever seen. I thought it was really amazing when Saks Fifth Avenue did a story with you guys. What was that all about? I guess I didn't realize
So
that someone like them cared. So I
the
thought
manager of Saks had decided to put together a program to spotlight local artists. And so they had reached out to us to be one of the three for one of the months that they were putting a display in.
So we had our spring summer collection 2023 on display there for a couple months, and then actually we're very uncensored with our branding, and so when we were approached, we were like, okay, we'll do it, but we're going to be who we are fully, with the hand fucking made. And on the wall, they had it hand fucking made, but the U had the little heart asterisk. And then when we came back 2 months later to pick up our collection, they had taken the entire fucking part off the wall. So someone got a little upset.
someone got upset. Yeah. What does that mean to you, though? What does that mean to you?
Being in fucking made in
Yeah.
America.
It's a statement.
Yes.
Simply like, where are your things made? You sent all of every bit of anything that's being made to some other country, yet you love America as Americans. So hand fucking made in America, because things are still actually being made here, like our shop, all of the things that are coming out of it. So it's just a statement, because if I said it's just handmade in America, no one would even care. They just, oh yeah, that's cute. They look past it. But you put that fuck in there, and then they start paying attention.
Actually,
Yeah. Because whatever it is, it irks you a little bit inside, and you start listening.
It hurts.
Actually,
Yeah.
it does. People
Yeah.
are like,
Yeah.
does it really need to be there? I'm like, actually, it does.
Because you noticed it.
Yeah. It got your attention, and now we can have a conversation about what we're doing, what we're trying to accomplish.
I was excited to ask you why. There's a story behind that.
Yeah,
So you excited. Absolutely. I remember you telling me that Olsen was talking about that in something like song lyrics, or and he was like, "Mom, they use that to provoke emotion." Like we were talking about it, and I was like, "Well, makes sense."
There's times that you'll be on stage and people aren't paying attention. You throw that out, the whole room like pays attention, and they look right up.
I think people were a little nervous at first. They didn't realize what we were trying to do with the shop. And with the elementary school being so close, they were like, kids can't be in there. It's too, like, out there. And,
It's too what?
it's uncensored. It's vulgar. But I'm like, actually, just yesterday, Google said that we are a great space for kids.
I saw that. I'm like, this is a fun,
It's
amazing
so fun and
space for
fucking in
kids.
here. Yeah.
Please bring your kids to places like this.
It's definitely needed, I think.
Everybody wants to feel like they have a place in this world, and you guys have done that.
Thank you.
You've created that, and when you posted that, I was like, that is crazy. Of course it's amazing. It's perfect for kids. You walk in here, what kid wouldn't love this place?
I know.
It's bright and cheerful and loving, and she has fun puzzles and books, and she has an art center. Like, there's just so many cool things that I saw these look like young teenagers here playing games today, so it was just really cool, because there aren't many places for kids to hang out.
So I guess like one one really important aspect is that we're alcohol-free space, and there's not too many around. And I think there's been this it's been gone for a long time, but there's this mindset where you can only socialize in alcohol space, especially for adults, where I can only feel like I can meet new people and let loose when it's alcohol or revolving around
Cocktails.
Yeah, anything like that. So one of our missions is to try and shift that mindset a little bit, even for the shows we host and the workshops we host. This is an alcohol-free space, and we'll have other options for you. You can get a sparkling tea or sparkling water or a mocktail, but this is alcohol-free here.
See, and I love that.
It keeps it all ages.
Because I'm not a drinker. I don't like alcohol at all. And Olsen and I, we love coffee shops. And you take someone who's a teenager on a Saturday or a Friday night, there's no place. It's all bars. Even some of our local coffee shops, they turn into a bar at night. So to be able to have a place for people who aren't drinkers, to be able to come and have a coffee and tea or a fun, herbal soda. Yeah. That's just beautiful. We need more of it.
We had our first sober party, and it was New Year's Eve, and it was an alternative if you don't want to go to a bar, or if you yourself are sober and you don't want to go to a bar, or you have kids and you don't have a place to go. They all came here.
I saw that, and I was like, that'd be so fun. Did you have music that night? Or?
We just we had a DJ playlist. Yeah.
So cool. Oh, I hope you guys, when and if you expand, you come to Indy. Oh,
yeah.
You can't steal that from me, Karen. I won't allow it.
Well, they have to have somebody else run it.
Yeah, this back room, when we first bought the building, it was abandoned essentially. There was nothing going on. There wasn't any heat back there. The bathroom was gnarly, and there was just a furnace. The floor was caving in, so I'm this space needs some love back there, and it ended up being my art gallery. And again, much of our goods, my art was just sitting in tubs all the time. I'd make a new painting and frame it, and then it would just go and sit in a tub. So now I have a permanent art installation for my own work, and eventually I'll have some other artists as well.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It feels good to see my art. I just walk in there sometimes, I'm like, damn it. So I make all my own paint from clay and soil, flowers, any forage plants. So it starts from dirt that I picked up in Arizona on tour, in Utah, and wherever I go I would pick up soil, and I can make that into paint. And we go out and forage with flowers and grow flowers. So I make my paint first, and then make the paintings from that.
That is outstanding.
It's been kind of a way to document our travels. So anywhere we go, I just will scoop a little bit of soil, and then when I make my paint, it's kind of remembering where I was, but also when I'm using the paint, it brings back some feelings of when I was in the moment scooping it. And it's good. Actually, we just talked about this. My memory is not great, so having physical things to help trigger memories.
I love yeah, that's pretty amazing. The process behind that. Because people think paintings, they don't understand the story.
And much like the textiles and the paints she's creating, she can wash her brushes and not worry about where those pigments are going, because they're not going to harm our waterways or cause problems. So the whole process at the end is so beautiful and circular and non-harming.
It's just beautiful, is what it is. Absolutely. You went to go serve one of their customers because they are busy, which is awesome. I want to hear about the skateboards.
All right. Well, I've been on and off a board for most of my life, and actually because of drinking, took a little hiatus through my 20s, and then in 2021, we had gotten to a point, I was doing a song with my friend Feather, and it was Clint Eastwood. It was a cover because it was their 20th anniversary of that song. And the chorus has got useless in the chorus, and at the time, I don't even know why it stuck, but that was ended up being Useless Skateboard Company. because I'd just gotten on a board at the time and found out that it was cheaper to buy a bunch of boards than it was to buy just like a single and start like skating. It was just cheaper for me to also have a creative outlet at the same time. So we bought a bunch, printed them up, and it's just been another mainstay ever since.
It's so cool. It's beautiful. Yeah, I've stood on one.
It's not for me either.
I would tell myself I already know.
That's one thing I'm really excited to bring to this community, because growing up in Attica, it's the same as this small town. There's no place to skateboard really. So we're planning to build a ramp in the back this spring and have a space for kids to come learn how to skateboard.
Oh, that's awesome. I have a little cousin who's a big boarder. Like, he is obsessed with it. And so that's just awesome that you guys are doing that. You're going to build one in the back? So do you have a lot of space?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, that's
It's
so
a mess
cool.
back there right now.
Well, it won't be. Okay. Yeah, I always say all beautiful things take time.
They do take time.
Take time and creativity. Yeah. Well, I can't thank you guys enough
Thank
for letting us come up, letting, Olsen and Maddie share the stage, your stage for your love of music, and I can't wait for all of you guys to, take a road trip, come up here, hang out, spend the day, bring some board games, just make this a fun day to just hang out, to be up here and make it a family trip. All my homeschool communities, the homeschool communities are always looking for cool places to take kids. And this place, I don't know a kid who wouldn't love this. This is amazing. So, like some fun hot chocolates with pastries that aren't toxic. It's amazing. So I can't wait to share you with the world.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to come up here and experience all of the world.
It matters. We have to take time and invest in those within our communities who are really making a difference.